There we go. What's up, everyone? Normal America show, Rob Noor. Different show today. Won't be politics oriented. What's going on? Notice how my one pillow's above the blanket and it's a different color of blue. Sorry for that, eyesore. So, hope you're all having a fantastic day today. I'm not. Normally I'm having a good day, but this isn't one of them. So, I probably wasn't going to stream much this week, and I wasn't putting many short videos or anything like that out. But I figured I'd probably try to stream Monday political content. And so I thought doing this stream today probably made more sense. So I didn't have to talk about it as much when we're doing the political stuff. So if you just watch me for my political opinions and not my great looks or anything like that, probably won't be the stream for you. I'm probably not going to stream long here tonight. But figured I might as well address it just so people knew what was going on. I had frequently brought, well, not frequently. I used to do a couple videos out in the yard with my dogs, Annabelle and Dorothy, and sometimes I would bring them on camera. And I'd mentioned my dog Annabelle's failing health. Unfortunately, she passed away yesterday at the vet. We actually had to put her to sleep. So it's very much a bummer. So I'll talk about it a little, explain what went on. I will probably at some point in the future have some funny videos and pictures of her. Talk about some of the better times with her. I'll tell a couple stories about Annabelle here this evening. She was a Beagle Boston Terrier mix. We got her when I think me and Courtney had been dating maybe 6 months or so. So when Courtney and I started dating, we each had separate apartments. I was still in school, so was she, and I was living with 3 guys in an apartment, and she was living with a couple people in an apartment. But we hung out a lot together, and we quickly realized we'd rather spend time together than with our roommates. So she was either always at my place or I was at her place. And so we decided after our leases ran up that semester, we ended up getting an apartment together, and we've been together ever since. So once we got an apartment together, we decided to get a dog. And we got this dog, Annabelle, a little puppy. It was a Beagle Boston Terrier mix. And we've had her, when she passed, she was born May 1st, 2011. So she was 13 and a half roughly when she passed. But that dog had been with me and Courtney basically our entire relationship. So Courtney and me have been married for 10 years. Annabelle's been there through the entirety of that. We got this puppy, Dorothy, I'm thinking like 2018 or 2019, we got Dorothy. So this interloper came in. Annabelle wasn't entirely pleased with Dorothy when she first came in. And then, of course, my son Hank, who will be 4 on January 9th, he was a new addition to the family that Annabelle was there for. And she was skeptical of him at first, someone taking attention. Thanks, everyone, for the kind words. I appreciate it. But she got to be his buddy. So she was very good with him. She was very good with Dorothy. Our nickname was P-Bug, was her nickname. I don't know if I've told the story in here, how that came to be. We got this apartment, me and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and then we had a third roommate, a good friend of hers, or a good friend of ours, her cousin. And we were moving into this apartment, and we're just like moving up couches. The living room was just a TV, and a TV stand was all we had in at the time. Or I think we were just bringing it up. I can't remember the specific details. Anyways, behind the sort of stand, I think there was a stand already there. I went to get to like the outlets, and I don't know what was going on with this house, but there was like hundreds of dead ladybugs, like in a pile, just dead ladybugs. And I've seen things like that before in houses, but it's kind of weird. It's like, what the heck happened here? So anyways, we're still bringing stuff up from the truck, and the apartment was up some stairs, and our puppy Annabelle's there, and I left her out to pee, obviously, before we going up. So in the time it took me, I leave her out to pee, I go up, I find these bugs, I go downstairs to like grab the TV or something, or broom or whatever it was. And then the time I came back up, I then go to clean up the bugs, and Annabelle had peed all over these dead bugs. So then I had a dustpan and a little hand broom, and I'm scooping up peed upon bugs to throw in the garbage. So that's when Annabelle got the nickname Pea Bug. That's how she got that name. We called her Pea Bug a lot, but she came to Annabelle or Pea Bug. She was great. She was very smart. All of the dogs that she was around, she was the smartest dog, and she was mischievous. So there's a lot of like my wife's family dogs are bigger, so they like big labs, and they had some bulldogs and things like that. And Annabelle would like be very good. Like, let's say you set out food in the kitchen and there's like 4 or 5 dogs there or something. Annabelle would go scratch at the door and bark. So all the other dogs would run to the door, and then she would run to the food and start eating without them. She was quite funny. She also loved chasing rabbits, which was cool until one day she found baby rabbits. Then that was no longer cool. But other than that, she got along with all animals. I mean, she's part beagle, so of course she loved running rabbits. Really cool dog and super independent. And she's a bad dog though, but that's okay because I'm a bad owner, so we worked out well together. Like, she knew there were no consequences. I'm not the type of person to hit a dog or anything like that. And so, like, especially as she got older, she just had this attitude. Like, I'd leave her out in the backyard, like, not in a leash. And our neighbors are cool with it. They don't care. They have dogs that run around, too. But she would just, like, start walking off into the woods. And I'd be like, Annabelle, what are you doing? And she'd just look at you like, what? What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You going to walk your fat ass down here or what? Which I always thought was kind of funny, her independence. She just had that sort of attitude. It was like, what are you gonna do about it? Nothing. You're not gonna do nothing. So she was very cool. Unfortunately, around last Christmas, we started to notice some little bumps on her, particularly on her stomach, and then there was one that was growing off of her, would have been the left side of her shoulder, and the one on the left side of her shoulder started to get. Like, the ones on her stomach were maybe the size of a dime. And there were just a couple of them. The one on her shoulder was bigger. It was probably the size of a 50-cent piece. So we, after about 2 weeks of noticing it and how big it was, we got her an appointment into the vet. So that first appointment was last January. And the vet was very nice. He was a very cool guy. He said that the ones on her stomach were benign. They weren't a problem. But the one on the shoulder wasn't. Or he wasn't sure. And so they did some tests, and they came back that it was probably cancerous, and we contemplated doing surgery. The problem was when they did scans with her, her heart was too big. She also had an esophagus that was a little small, and her blood work was coming back poor. And due to her advanced age, the vet recommended that we put her on medication to try to get her blood work in a better condition, because apparently a lot of older dogs, when you put them under with anesthesia, they sometimes don't wake up. And so he recommended that we basically routinely go to the vet like every 28 days and try taking different medications. And so she had been on quite a few medications, and we went back to the vet 3 or 4 times. The third time they decided to do a scan, and I don't know. I'm pretty good at reading people. I don't know. Sometimes when people are doing services for you, it's difficult to get, for me, it's difficult to get a read on them. So I'll just tell you what my gut feeling was. He's like, there's spotting on the liver. And he's like, you could send her out. He's like, I don't have the equipment here, but you could send her out for like a more specific diagnosis and test, but it's going to cost you thousands of dollars. But he was like, I think we should just proceed assuming that it is cancer. And I was like, okay. And he basically told me maybe the best thing to do is make her comfortable. Because going back and getting jabbed every 28 days and getting the blood work, and it just wasn't getting better despite all the medications we were trying. So that was probably last May. We went in, and we're basically told there's probably nothing we could do for her. And unfortunately, that lump on her shoulder kept getting larger and larger. And I knew that ultimately the end would be when it got large enough that it broke open, it would be painful and it would probably be hard to keep from getting infected. So I was streaming Thursday night, and I mentioned on stream that she nicked it a little. She nicked it a little, and so she was going to sleep in bed with us Thursday night. And my wife, while I was up streaming, she put gauze on it and taped it up, and then put a little T-shirt on her, so she was walking around in a little T-shirt. And she slept in bed with us, and the other dog, Dorothy, and my son, Hank. So me, my wife, Hank, Dorothy, Annabelle, slept in bed, which meant I got like this much spot. But I got to snuggle with Annabelle one last night. The next morning, we still had the bandage. My wife had just put it on before we went to bed, so she still had the bandage on her. We were going, this would have been Friday morning, we were going to go to her sister's to make Christmas cookies and Christmas decorations and things like that. We're going to be there pretty much all day. Anyways, my wife was like, well, let's redress the wound. Oh, first, I decided then I would stream early. So I went up and did an early stream, which you guys probably saw if you watched Friday. Did a call-in show instead of doing it in the evening. Came down from the early stream. My wife's like, can you move this stuff into our vehicle? Sure, no problem. We moved the stuff into the vehicle. And she's like, I'm going to redress Annabelle's cut. And when I came back inside, she said she wasn't going to make it. It had opened up to the point where there was nothing we could do. So we live in sort of a rural area. There's probably within a half hour of us 3 or 4 veterinary clinics, including the one we normally go to. Unfortunately, none of them could get her in. So we ended up driving her about an hour and a half to sort of an emergency facility. And basically, long story short, the vet there was like, there's nothing we could do, so probably the best thing is to put her down, which is a real bummer if you've ever gone through something like that. So I got to be with her in her last moments, but it was tough, and I'll miss her a lot, but at least she's not hurting anymore. So but that's unfortunately then life had to go on. Our man Hank was in the car. He was sleeping. So we came back. I got back in the car and we ended up still going to hang out with family and do Christmas stuff. And then we talked to Hank about it last night. And unfortunately, the nature of my work is I have to come in. So I'm at work now. And, it's one thing, to when you're with family and stuff, you're obviously still sad. But I had a lot of alone time today thinking about the poor girl, so. And then you wonder, maybe I could have done something earlier that year. Maybe I could have went to a different vet. Maybe they would have had a different response. Or, I just don't know. But, it's sad. It's a real bummer. And then the other thing that you deal with it, I'm a very lucky person. I've not had any immediate family in my life die, like any close friends. I had a friend in high school that passed away, sadly, years ago in the Afghanistan conflict. But I'll be honest with you, this wasn't a best friend. This was someone I hung out with probably every other weekend. But that sucked. That obviously was not fun. My grandparents dying, that was the closest that's been. And don't get me wrong, that's not fun for anyone. And, I was emotional when my grandparents died. But I think that's different than your parents dying or your wife dying or your brother or sister dying. It's a weird thing of life that I think you just accept that sort of natural order. Grandparents are going to die in your lifetime unless, unfortunately, something terrible happens to you. And we understand. And the same's true of parents, but obviously you're closer. So I've been extremely lucky. I did have a couple dogs when I was young that I was really close to that passed away. But Annabelle was probably the dog I was closest to for the most years. So that was tough. But the reason I bring this up is my son Hank, who's almost 4, I don't know how to talk to him about this. I don't know how to explain to him. There's the cliche, she went to sleep and she's not going to wake back up. But that doesn't do it. So we talked to him last night. It was very sad. He was crying. And that makes it hard all over again. So we're trying our best. I think it's sort of hitting him today. But they were very close. Hank was very close to Annabelle. So it's tough. His first loss. We did have a guinea pig that passed away. But unfortunately, that guinea pig we only had for about a month. And she probably had some sort of illness when we brought her home. We brought 2 guinea pigs home. And the one didn't make it. And so that's sad, but that's sort of different than a dog you've had for 13 years. And maybe this makes me sound prejudiced, but it's just true. I'm closer to my dogs than I am my guinea pigs. I like the guinea pigs, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same. If you have like a cat or a dog or maybe a horse or a pet like that you spend a large portion of your life with, I think that's a little different. But it's tough. And Hank called her his best friend. And so, he's bummed, but, we'll get through it. And it sucks that it happens right before Christmas. We were really, really hoping, we already have the stocking out for her and gifts bought for Annabelle. So we were really hoping that she made it through Christmas, but, it could have been worse. I'm glad that it was a day I was off work and that my wife didn't have to deal with it alone. There's always, things could always be worse. So, and then my other dog, Dorothy, you could tell she's very weird about it. She's known Annabelle her whole life, since she was a puppy. And you could tell sort of just the pecking order of animals. She looked up to Annabelle. And so she's been weird. I don't know what she's thinking. Maybe I, humanize animals too much. Maybe they don't think about things like us. But from her perspective, it's like, where did Dad take Annabelle? He took her into this building and then she didn't come back. She knew she was hurt. Dorothy knew Annabelle was hurt, but I don't know. You could tell she's weird and doesn't know what to do. She looked to Annabelle for her cues. Dorothy is not as smart as Annabelle. Dorothy has other traits. Like, Dorothy is just super cuddly. Like, she doesn't sit on you. She, sits in you. She'll, sit on you and then just, rub up against you. She's a funny dog. She really is. But she looked at Annabelle as, her mentor. So, it was, it's a tough situation. But that's life, I know I'm not deeply philosophical or anything like that, but it does make you think. There's all kinds of things I'm thinking about. It obviously speaks to your own mortality. It speaks to, if I'm a blubbering mess thinking about my dog passing away, how will I feel when my parents pass? Or, God forbid, some tragedy happen and people even closer than that to me pass. I don't know. It makes me think how lucky I am. Not only lucky that I had a dog that was I'll be honest, she was much better than I deserved. I don't think I'm the greatest dog owner. I'm not the type of guy that was taking her out for hour walks every day. I can't tell you how many times just looking back, I'm thinking think of the shit I could have did with her, but I was dicking around on Twitter, or stupid shit like that. So I don't know, but she was a lot of fun. She was really cool. And it makes you think, about your own mortality, what will be like when you go. It's just, I don't know. A lot of stuff to think. Needless to say, I didn't feel like putting short videos or anything up yesterday or today. One of my editors did put up at least one short, or 2 maybe. I didn't really check to see what 2 they put up, but I just thought that I should explain that, and that's where I'd been. I will get back probably Monday unless work interferes. with normal political content. But that's what's been going on for the past couple days. So I just thought that I would come on. Like I said, I'll try to get some pictures compiled and some videos. I did put a video up on X of, it was around Christmas 2019. I put a video up on my YouTube. It's only 1 minute long, and it's called like two ladies discussing current events while opening their Christmas presents. It was just Annabelle and Dorothy playing with a ball and their Christmas toys in the living room. So you can check that out if you want to see Annabelle and Dorothy in all their glory playing with their toys and stuff. I did some other YouTube videos in the past where I had them out in the yard and they were running around. I'm sorry to hear that, Casey. Sorry, I wasn't looking at a lot of the chats. So, you know, right now I think the most important thing is my other dog, Dorothy, my wife, and my son, doing my best to be there to help them move forward with this. So that's ultimately my goal with this. And it's like I said, it'll be sort of bittersweet Christmas coming up so soon without her around. But, you know, every pet, it happens. And I'm still extremely, extremely lucky. You know, it really makes you think about people out there that are losing close loved ones. And I haven't gone through that. And when I see how much it affected me to lose a dog, you know, what would it be like to lose a child? What would it be like to lose a wife or a husband? I can't imagine. I don't wish it on anyone. Really, I don't know. Maybe I'm too soft. I don't know. But that's it. I saw a lot of people had some kind words. Thank you for that. I was really trying not to look at the screen too much. But yeah, any other things people have before thanks, Sparky. I appreciate it, man. She was fun. You guys would have loved her. She was a little shithead. Here's another story. I don't know what it is about your average normal Roku remote. Like, everyone I know has a TV that runs through a Roku remote, and it's got like the little rubber buttons on it. Annabelle would eat the shit out of those rubber buttons. She would just chew them up. So my mother-in-law, we've had to buy like 5 Roku remotes because we'll leave Annabelle over there and we'll like be outside grilling or something. We come back in and she's just sitting on the couch with the damn remote chewed up. Like, she's instantly... I don't know what about it. You would think it was like a chicken leg or something, you know, like some delicious meat, but no, she just dove right in. So I still think it's going to be tradition that we're going to get the in-laws a Roku remote every year, you know, for Christmas, just for memory's sake. So that there'll be good memories. And like I said, maybe I'll compile some photos and some videos and stuff that I have her, and we could see. You all could see the same girl I knew. She, when we had her, when we first got her and she was a puppy, this is another story. Like, our apartment was just, we lived adjacent. It was like a house that had made into 2 apartments. And so we lived on one side of it, but you had a downstairs and an upstairs. And around the house was a chain link fence. It was probably chest high. She's a little puppy. So we didn't have a cage for her or anything like that. So we would just take her everywhere with us, basically. And so she's always with us, and when we'd be out in the yard, it's cool, there's a cage. You don't have to worry about putting her on a leash or anything like that. So one day, me and Courtney are just at the house, and we're like downstairs watching TV, and it didn't cross my mind that Annabelle wasn't there. You know, she's off sleeping somewhere, you know, playing in the wherever. And all of a sudden, there's a knock at our door. Okay. And it's these 2 little kids and their mom. They're probably like 8 and 10. And they're holding Annabelle. And they're like, "Is this your puppy?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness, yeah." And they're like, "She was walking down the sidewalk and we picked her up and we knocked on a couple doors and they said they thought that they saw it in your yard." And I was like, "Yeah, that's ours." And we, for days, could not figure out, how the heck did she get out? And all we could think was, well, maybe we came in the fence and then opened the door and she somehow ran out without us recognizing it. So it was like weeks. We could not figure out how she got out. Then, for whatever reason, we were cleaning windows or something upstairs in our bedroom, and my wife pulls back the curtains. The window was open, and Annabelle ate a hole through the screen. And this is a puppy with a second floor window. She ate a hole in the screen and then jumped out the window over the chain link fence. Now, granted, that chain link fence was probably only a foot or two on that side away from where that window was. But still, it's a puppy jumping out outside. And somehow she didn't like hurt her legs or anything like that. But quite the daredevil, little Annabelle, just out the damn window. And we would, like, thank goodness those kids found her. She's just jaunting down the sidewalk. Where's my wife there? She says, remember she figured out how to open the storm door with the weird handle in our apartment. We had to bury. Yeah, like if we'd leave, because we didn't put her in a cage, we would just leave and she'd have her run of the house. And she learned how to slap, like it had this weird handle. She learned how to slap it and she'd get out. Like she was very smart. All kinds of stories. She was just quite the maniac. She really was. I remember a good friend of ours, when she was a puppy, he was like, I'll pay you $2,000 for that dog. I'm going to teach it to run rabbits. We were like, nope, not for sale. And then he used to joke every time we'd see him. He'd be like, offer's gone down, a little mileage on her. We'll give you $19.50 now. I don't know if he knows that she passed. He'd probably feel bad about that. But she was a lot of fun. She really was. And she would, her hearing was going a little, but I would always whistle. I could whistle really loud, so I'd go. I could whistle like that, and because her hearing was going, I think that high pitch she would hear it a little more than if I was just like Annabelle, and so her ears would perk up and she'd come running to me. So Hank, he whistles as well now, except he doesn't whistle. He just goes like makes a high pitched sound. He calls that his whistling. But yeah, he would do that to try to get Annabelle to come to him. Because that's sort of what she heard. And she loved to eat. For a little dog, she just would eat anything. Like, just loved it. And she knew that, like, both of her grandmas were weak. And so, like, if she, be around me and my wife and we're eating at the table, we're like, Annabelle, lay down. And sometimes we'd give them leftovers. But that's, there was no monkeying around. But not Nana. Nana was weak. She'd always be slipping her food under the table. So she was Nana's buddy. She would sit there if Nana's at the dinner table eating, Annabelle's right beside her just staring at her. She knows Nana is weak. Would give in to her all the time. But yeah, she would eat whole cucumbers, yeah. Which is weird because my son Hank also, it's like his favorite food is cucumbers. Hank's absolute favorite food is from this one particular Chinese restaurant we have here. They're egg rolls. That's his absolute favorite food. He would eat like 6 egg rolls in one sitting. He loves them, but he also loves cucumbers. Like he'll eat like a snack just straight cucumbers. We buy those like English cucumbers that are a little smaller. He'll eat those. And Annabelle would eat these cucumbers. I remember the first time he was like, here, Annabelle, and I was like, she ain't gonna eat no cucumber, and she just housed it. She's like, I never seen a dog who's like that into vegetables. Dorothy won't touch them. Dorothy ain't eating no cucumber. And the other dogs I know, they're like, cucumber? But you throw that in the ground, Annabelle was eating it up. I don't know. But no, she loved stuff like that. She loved playing with the ball and stuff. She wasn't very good at bringing it back. And she was like, for a little dog, man, you'd get her a toy or something, and she wouldn't stop until she ruined it. Like, she would just, like, if you gave her a tennis ball, she would just sit there all night and just till it was chewed in a million pieces. And you'd just be like, Annabelle! Hank said today before he came to work, we were talking about our favorite memories. He said, she made good messes. I said, she did. She definitely made good messes. That was one thing she did. But you couldn't be mad about her. She had so much damn character. You'd like yell at her and she just, and you're like, oh, okay. Shit. She was funny, man. Definitely the best dog I ever had. And, granted, I had a dog, a Boston Terrier growing up named Mush. Well, her real name was Amanda, but I called her Mush. She was very cool, but I probably only spent about 6 years with her. Annabelle with 13 and a half, from the time she was a puppy until she was an old lady. So it really does. And dogs, I think all the time of what a shitty person I am. And I'm a shitty person. And I think of how annoying I am. And how, like, I don't give a shit if you're my wife or one of my best friends or whatever. No one wants to hang out with me all the time. But Annabelle would. There is no judgment there. So, she'll be missed. She will. Anyways, like I said, maybe I'll put a video out and I'll have some pictures and some video of her. Maybe we'll do that in a live stream. Obviously, though, I'll need to be at my computer to do that. It won't be as doable from a phone here. So, maybe I'll do that in the future. But probably won't be talking about it much because it'll bum me out and then I won't want to talk about anything else while I'm streaming. So, I'm sure it'll get a little less stinging as time goes on. But that's the other thing. I know that this is the most I'll ever think about her. And even though there will be moments that I think about her going forward, it won't be as much as today. And was today enough? I don't know. So, but anyways, that's what's up with me. So hopefully if work permits, I'll be doing a stream Monday. If not, definitely we'll be streaming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we'll get some stuff coming up. But I do thank all of you for your continued support. Even those that wanted to be shitty. And I didn't see any in this chat tonight, but I'm sure maybe there was one. That wanted to be shitty and make fun of me for it. That's okay. You could do that too. I got some thick skin. For being a crybaby, I do have a little bit of thick skin when it comes to insults and shit like that. So I don't mind that at all. But I do appreciate all your support through this and through everything else. So, and I'm very blessed that anyone wants to watch me. I truly am. And I'm blessed that I had time to spend with her. And I have such a great family to help me through with that. So thanks, Randy. Thanks for the becoming a member. It says, God bless you and yours, Rob. Sorry about your loss. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So thank you, everyone, for your kind words. I will probably see you Monday night. I'll get back to putting those short form videos up Monday as well. So you'll find those on YouTube. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. As always, have a good one.